So hello everyone, in this video we are going to look at another important property of strings uh, via example of concatenation. So what we are going to study is strings concatenation concatenation strings concatenations in Java. Okay, so first see, remember one thing. So for example we are having a string s1 is equal to, let's say, PVB, and then string s2 for example is like geek, and if we wish to concatenate these two strings, then we simply write s3 is equal to s1 plus s2. That's it. And here this plus stands for concati stands for concatenation. Okay, so that's how we concatenate strings in Java. And as far as program is concerned, we write, okay, so see, we had three strings PVB hyphen and geek, and string str4 is basically concatenation of all these three strings. So str1 plus str2 plus str3, and then final string is we are just printing. So that's how we concatenate strings in Java. That's it. So simple as far as concatenation is concerned. However, there is one very important point which is regarding the time complexity of this concatenation. What is time complexity of this? Simple. What is time complexity of this? So before understanding the time complexity, let's just see how does object oriented programming works. For example, if I write this statement, string, please pay a very close attention, this is something which is very important as far as concept clearing is concerned. str pvb. Okay, so we have just declared one string. Now what happens is actual, how does object oriented programming works? So as far as object oriented programming is concerned, there are two main points to understand. One is stack and another is heap. Okay, one is stack and another is heap. So whenever we write such kind of statement, so this is what is str is basically object of string class, object of string class, object of string class. So what happens is there is something called as stack. This is a stack. So whenever we write this statement, an object str is stored in stack, and there is another kind of memory which is called as heap. So this is what heap, and inside this heap there is this string. Oh sorry, one minute. Inside this inside this heap, there is this string stored as pvb bus. That's it. And what happens is this object in stack points to this memory location in heap where this string is stored. And here comes the most important point. Strings, one of the most important point. very 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 important. Strings are immutable 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 in Java. Strings are immutable in Java. So this is the most important point in as far as strings is concerned. So what is meaning of this? So instead of explaining you the literal meaning of this, let me demonstrate it to you through an example. Consider we are writing something like this. So string s1 is equal to PVB, and string s2 is equal to geek, and we then write something like that, like as string s3 is equal to s1 plus s2. So the meaning of word immutable is not changeable or fixed. So what happens is, exactly when we create something like this, so this is the stack, this is object s1 in the stack, this is object s2, and this is object s3, and this is heap. So inside heap there is some string PVB, and inside the same heap at some other location there is this string called as geek. Okay, and what is happening in s3 is concatenation is happening. So what is exactly been done is, how many blocks of memory are occupied by PVB? Let's say 3 blocks of memory, so P, V and B, like this. And then what? Geek. So geek occupies somewhere 4 blocks of memory, so G, E, E, K, something like this. And then what? So when we say there is a concatenation, what actually happens is, first a total empty space, okay, a total empty space of 7 is created. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, total empty space of 7 is created. Okay, and then each character is copied. So P is copied, then V is copied, then B copies, then G is copied, then E are copied, and lastly K is copied. So firstly an empty space of 7 is created, then each character is copied individually, and then this string finally PVB-GEEK, wherever it is present in the heap, is pointed by S3. So now this creation of extra space and then copying each character takes some time complexity, which is of order of n, where n is length of string, and that's why a simple concatenation, okay, between these two strings, which seems so simple, this particular line has a time complexity of order of n. Okay, and this is the most important concept to understand behind concatenation, that is its time complexity. So when we saw this particular code, okay, so initially what happens is, we are here concatenating three strings. Okay, so initially what is happening first, okay, so this doesn't happen all at once. First this particular concatenation takes place, and the resultant of these two is then concatenated with str3. Okay, so it takes in part. So PVB plus hyphen. Okay, so first an empty space of 4 will be created, then each and every character will be copied, then an empty space of 8 will be created, and then these 4 plus these remaining 4 will be copied. So this, even though it seems a pretty simple statement, okay, so let me just write it in the comment here. Even though it seems a pretty simple statement, the time complexity is order of n, because in the backend inside memory an extra space is created, then each and every character is copied, and this is how the concatenation takes place. So even though this looks a quite simple statement, it has got a time complexity of its own. So this was the most important concept. And what's the most important property? The most important property is that strings are immutable, and this is also what we can say is one of the drawback of strings class. Okay, but how it is a drawback? So I think why it is a drawback is quite simple, because even a simple thing like concatenation takes a time complexity of order of n. Okay, so means just for concatenation we first need to create an extra space, then copy each character. Okay, so it's a kind of a it's a bit time consuming process. Okay, so so most important property that strings are immutable in Java. Then this is how concatenation takes place. Looks simple, but it has got a time complexity of its own. Another important is how stack and heap work, how objects are stored in stack and then they point to a memory location in heap where the actual contents are stored. And this is what I wanted to demonstrate to you through this video. So that's all for this video. I hope the concept was quite clear to every one of you, and if you think I have contributed anything to your logic building, please do consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.